Hi everybody, so welcome back to a quick video here which will complete another video on the channel. And the subject today is this 1832 wonderfully inlaid bed, which actually matches the armoire that was part of the video on mirrored armoires. And these pieces were made together, and we know that this bed was made in 1832 because the armoire is signed 1832. Anyway, I did not want to leave the bed out. And these two pieces formed a suite of bedroom furniture, which may or may not be missing some of the original pieces, like maybe a chest of drawers, also in this dark wood, rosewood with lighter inlays of hollywood, such as this one that we might glance at, just for reference. And this particular bed is a wonderful example of art furniture in the late Charles X style. Now, this is an aesthetic movement that corresponds to the reign of Charles X. It lasted roughly throughout the 1820s, and it is remembered in art history as really being the height of the art of inlaid wood, which I think we clearly see here on this really wonderful example. And now this piece is relevant to share with you whether you're a collector, a designer, someone just interested in learning a bit more about furniture from the past and why certain types of it are valuable and certain types are not. But anyway, this piece is relevant to share with you not only because I have it, but because it is equivalent to one which is published and signed by Le Sage, one of the top few dozen names that comes to mind with 19th century, early 19th century furniture. But anyway, published in the key French text on the early 19th century decorative arts, Connaissance des arts, le 19e siècle français. Understanding the arts, the French 19th century. And so what's really mind-boggling about this one, which makes it kind of a benchmark publication piece, is really the complexity of all this wonderful inlay that we see here, which is still in remarkably good condition. Whether it's the larger scrolling foliage motifs here, or if it's the minutely executed friezes of foliage that border this larger rectangular panel of the facade. Not to mention the 5 little wreaths down here. If not, even these wonderfully precise fillets, these geometric designs here, the Greek key borders that match the ones on the armoire. And so all of this inlay work was done relatively by hand with a marketer's table saw, little device that would sometimes have a pedal, and you'd sit there pedaling the thing, and a vertical saw blade would go through while you ran a stencil of all of these insanely wonderful designs, well, through the saw blade for 400 hours. And then, 200 years later, the bed would still exist and people would still be marveling at it. That's art. Practically, somebody pointed out that beds like this are short, not only because people were shorter back then, but because, in fact, they actually slept hunched over or sitting up, if you will. And that might come from the medieval superstition that you needed to sleep bent so that the devil would have a harder time getting inside of your body. But anyway, today, someone my height, 6'1" or so, can sleep successfully in a bed like this, but originally and still today people are drawn to works of art like this because they are works of art. I do see them now sometimes being used as a sofa or as a type of daybed. But anyway, guys, the reason why this bed is late Charles X is not only because it is signed 1832, which is technically 2 years outside of the Charles X period. Furniture styles only really loosely correspond to the actual chronological reigns of the monarch or the governmental period after which they are named. But nevertheless, this is technically outside, dating-wise, the Charles X period, so clearly it's a late Charles X piece. But also, we associate this darker wood color scheme with the rosewood background with the late Charles X period, as original Charles X furniture was in maple, and then, they turned it around to rosewood with light inlay by the end of the 1820s. So they've already changed the wood color scheme, and now the last thing they can do in the final moments of this style is just exaggerate the forms of the bed. And we see this happening in all sorts of styles in art history, where once all the different phases of the style have been exhausted, the makers, the artistic minds, are sort of looking to innovate within kind of a bygone style. And we see sort of a final hurrah before eventually the style is eclipsed by an entirely new one. In fact, if we look at this mahogany sleigh bed, which is a different variety of restoration furniture in mahogany and gilded bronze, we notice that the forms of it, the design, well, it's a little more subdued. It's less exuberant than this sort of outrageous shape that we see here on the headboard. So with all that being said, why don't we just pan over some of the hidden parts here. We'll start with the back of the bed, which is not decorated like the front, as these beds were designed with a front positive decorated side, and then this back negative side for use up against the wall. But we do see back here that it is veneered, finished off with some of this beautiful rosewood veneer. And the bed is on rollers so that you could roll it out from the wall, roll it out from under the canopy of curtains. And then inside the bed, we notice that the inner belt, the inner frame of the piece, is not veneered in rosewood, but rather just in plain, slightly oxidized oak. And while we're peeking around, we see the typical screws, these large screws with spherical heads full of holes through which you would operate a little dowel to tighten or loosen them. Those are the typical screws that we see on these types of 19th century beds that hold the headboards onto the frame. And then finally, interestingly, we see these wooden tabs down here. These are the original tabs which would have supported a type of box spring and then maybe several layers of mattresses. Your guess is as good as mine in terms of where the mattresses would have gone. Sometimes they would rise up to surprising altitudes in these beds. But I would imagine that it might stop there, and then perhaps a circular pillow would align with the curvature of the headboard. But anyway, we do not see a smattering of different devices and brackets and holes, which often correspond in beds like this to the different decades and periods of mattress technology that were used. Here we seem to just have the original wooden tabs, which have held up almost 200 years. And so, with all of that said, everybody, I do hope that you've enjoyed taking a closer look at this artifact, at this pre-industrial period piece, this work of decorative art. And if you would like to support this endeavor of creating an online period furniture library of the most compelling pieces that I encounter, sort of to help people see the difference between them and everything else that's called antiques, please subscribe to the channel. It would be much appreciated. Thank you.